Good morning, everyone. Glad that you're here this morning. I am excited about today. I'm speaking to around 900 people today and tomorrow. So you'll see me all glammed up a little bit more than usual. And not that I won't get glammed up for you, because there's times that I do. But we're in a casual conversation every day. Good morning, hi Kathy. And so I don't normally get so glammed up. And it's 8 o'clock in the morning, so it's a little bit early. So you keep stopping just to start up all over again. I'm going to talk to you about why that is. If you don't know me, if you're new to Breakthrough and you're just starting to watch my videos, I am Vickie Griffith with Breakthrough. I specialize in weight loss. However, I have many clients that come to me for anything. This is what my clients tell me. I know what I'm supposed to do. I just can't get myself to do it. Hi, Candy. And so this is one of the reasons why. Especially for people who've been on the roller coaster of weight loss, this is definitely why they're stopping and starting over again. It shows up in many different ways, but this is kind of the below reason why you can't lose the weight and keep it off. So, excuse me, let me get started. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, it's the fear of the consequence. That's what it is. You're afraid of what will happen when you're thin. And we stall ourselves from being thin because of this fear. And it's different for everyone. I'll share a few with you. But we stall, we stop, we take time and regain weight, lose weight, regain it all over again, because you've never actually addressed this fear. And it could be more than one. In other words, so the fear of consequences, what is it going to be like when I'm thin? What is my life going to be like when I'm thin? Creates a gap between where you are now and the time you once were thin, or watching other people get thin and then get sick. And this gap is what you're in, the starting and stopping all over again. Some people will call it procrastination. Procrastination is nothing more than a need for protection, which is really what's happening. Some people will just say, I don't have willpower, which is probably not true, because most of my clients are pretty driven people. They're leaders in their industries. They are CEOs, CFOs, CSOs. They are business owners and running multiple six-figure, if not million-dollar businesses. So pretty well established and pretty successful in their life, except for this one thing. And this one thing, the fear of consequences. Yes, Kathy, exactly. Getting thin, getting healthy instead of getting thin. Absolutely agree with that, because that changes, it reframes the mind. And when we reframe the mind, it's a little easier to achieve our goals, and it's a lot easier if you're reprogramming your subconscious mind to your new framework with health instead of thinness or skinny or whatever you may want to call it. Fear of consequences are things like someone was sexually abused as a child, a teenager, or date raped. I have many clients who are in that category, and that fear of consequence, if I get thin again, then it will happen again. Fairly unlikely, because different person now. Many of my clients, this happened when they were a child and they had no power. You're an adult and now you have power. And you know where the very sensitive places are to kick them, man or woman, to get them out of your life. So doubtful it's going to happen, but that fear is still there. Some of my clients found themselves as teenagers. They were promiscuous. So they're afraid that that's going to happen now as an adult being thin. Pretty unlikely. Your values have changed. And most of the time that came through being a rebel, not saying you're not one. Some of my clients are the most amazing rebels ever, but we switch the need to be fat into being a rebel about your health. And it makes all the difference in the world. Again, it's reframing your mindset. Some of my clients have the fear of the consequence of being thin means I'm going to have to be on guard my entire life. Not necessarily true. Will you have to make quick, small decisions throughout the rest of your life? Sure, but you're making those every day now anyway. You're making the quick decision to eat the package of cookies. You're making the quick decision to overeat at dinner. You're making a quick decision to run for the wine when you feel sad, or it's been just because it's been a long day, which every weekday seems to be a long day. So you already made those decisions. It's just a different type of decision. The decision to, all right, I feel sad. What can I do to move it from myself? I recognize it. I acknowledge it. I feel sad. You might not know why you feel sad. That's okay. You don't have to always know why. You just know you feel sad. Either tap it away. You use your mind to energetically release it. You turn it over to God. You surrender whatever your method is, and there's many. You breathe into it, knowing that it's just energy, emotion, and you breathe into it and release it. Nothing wrong with any emotions. It's acknowledging it, loving it, and appreciating its message. Our emotions are giving us messages about what's going on in our life and what our fear is. So the fear of consequences is I have to make a whole lot of decisions through willpower every single day to stay on track. And yes, you will, but you're already making those decisions. The other fear of consequences is going to be too hard because it's been in the past. So you're making up judgments and stories about what it's going to be like to be thin. And too hard comes up in all kinds of ways. It's, I'm going to... So when I'm recording this, we're in the middle of June, so 4th of July is coming up soon, which means a lot of family barbecues or going on vacation if you can. It's going to be really different this year because most of us are still going to be doing staycations or going short distances. So that fear of it's going to be too hard is this event's coming up and there's going to be all this food and there's going to be all of this adult beverages and I don't know that I can contain or control myself. And that becomes, part of it is because you're depriving yourself. If you're not depriving yourself every day, then it's much easier to say no to something. And when I first started my program, I decided I wasn't going to give up anything I was eating. I did cut back in portions, and please hear that because this is a part people don't hear. It's so funny how our subconscious minds, it protects us in funny ways. I cut back portions, but I still ate fast food every single day for probably the first year, maybe even a little longer. I wasn't going to deprive myself anymore. Foods that I loved to binge on were peanut butter and chips, not at the same time. That sounds a little disgusting, but I had some every day. I took my lunch into work, and I was a buyer for Virginia Commonwealth University at the time, just transferred down from Michigan State University. And so at lunchtime, I took my lunch, and I brought a single serving, yes, the little ones, a single serving of potato chips every day. I ate peanut butter every morning because I knew I had a psychological need for that food, and to deprive myself meant that I would literally go eat a family-sized bag of potato chips in one sitting, or several, not even tablespoons, it's kind of shameful to admit this, but maybe even half a cup or cup of peanut butter at a time, because I had it every day. I didn't have to. So taking that away having some every day took away the fear of the consequence, that I'm not going to be able to eat my favorite foods anymore. I can't eat them in the quantity that I am anymore, which is probably true. However, you can still have some. And I've been to barbecues. The way that I eat now is so totally different. I couldn't even imagine, good morning, hey Jean. I couldn't even imagine eating the way I do now, because it's pretty healthy compared to what I used to eat. But I started where I was at, and that's where you need to go to, because that will help eliminate the fear of consequences. Some fears of being thinner is being seen. Truthfully, a lot of heavy people don't want to be seen, which doesn't make sense, because the bigger you are, the more visible you are, the more space you take up. Some people are fat to take up space and be seen. This is why it's different for everyone else. So the fear of consequences, I get thinner, I'm the average Joe and no one will see me anymore. For other people, if I get thinner, I'll be seen. And a fear of consequence is when I get thinner, I'll have more responsibility. I'll have more responsibility for my food choices. I'll have more responsibility in my life. It may be giving you a way to escape some of the responsibility in life and you're dumping it on someone else. So if you're thinner, that means you have to be more responsible. And again, like I said, a lot of my clients are already leaders. They're very successful in their businesses. They're very successful in their careers. It's just this one thing. And for them to think that the fear of consequence, of being seen, it doesn't make sense, but it could be. It doesn't have to be what your fear is. Other fear of consequences is if I'm thinner than my sister, I'll feel horrible. And you fill in the blank who that might be. For me, it was my mom. We were always constantly dieting. And for me to get thinner than my mom at young age, again, this was a young age when I thought about this, that was scary for me because we were eating buddies. That was our closeness together. And if I was thin, that meant it would sacrifice that time. Would it have? I don't know. But it was a conclusion I made as a child. So a lot of times the consequence, the fear of being thinner is if I'm thinner than, and you fill in the blank, they're going to disown me or they're going to abandon me. So people who have been literally abandoned are fearful of being thin because that could happen again. Or people are afraid of being disloyal to their best friend who's fatter or a group of friends that are fatter than them. Or if I get thinner, I'll be the thin one in the group. I'm going to have to change friends. There's a whole lot of consequences. Some people who've come to me and said, I am afraid of getting thin and getting sick. There are people in their families, friends. You look on Facebook, there's a lot of families talking about their family being ill and getting really thin. So there's a fear there, the fear of consequence. If I'm thin, I'm going to get ill, I'm going to get sick, I might die, I might, whatever it might like. And then there's the fear of being a burden. So when you get thin, you're going to be a burden on people. And what that means is that you're going to be demanding of the types of foods that you need in the social events, or you're afraid you're going to become a little bit too cocky, a little bit more too assertive. And then it goes back to being disloyal or abandoned again, but mostly it's about burden. I'm going to be too much of a burden on it's going to be too much of a burden on me. It's going to be too much of a burden on everyone else. So how do you stop the fear of consequence? And here's the good news about concern and fears. A lot of times it is showing you the path of what you can be and what can do. So in other words, these things wouldn't have come up for you. These fear of consequences wouldn't have come up for you, even at a subconscious level. So a lot of times you don't even know that this is happening. It's just happening. You can't figure out why you're sitting down and eating, a whole bowl of spaghetti and getting a second one, whatever it might be for you, or half of pizza or whatever. You can't figure out why you're doing that. So it could be subconscious. But these fears are all based in the mind, and you've collected evidence that it's true. And that's because the brain likes to fill in the blanks. So it's correct. It is collecting evidence and fills in the blanks in between, creates this amazing story about how it's going to happen to you if you get thin. And this is all going on without your knowledge. And then you just act upon as if that is true. So it goes back to catching your thoughts. Catching your thoughts. And that sounds exhausting. And I can tell you when I first went on my mental diet, it seemed like every 30 seconds I was saying something badly about myself. I was criticizing myself. I was judging myself. That first day, I will tell you, when I started saying no to those thoughts, it was exhausting. The second day got a little bit better. The third day got a little better. By the end of the week, I noticed that there were gaps in between. It was so peaceful. It was so amazingly peaceful and calm. Those gaps in between all of this, what's wrong with you? You can't do this. You're not good enough. You'll never be able to get this. You'll never be thin. You'll never be smart enough. You'll never be blah, 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 blah. So it does take some time, and that's because of the brain. And I've chatted about that several times. Neural pathways, get the emotion, you go down the same pathway, and the reaction is to eat. So instead of allowing the negative thinking and the criticism and judgment to snowball into a story about myself that drove me to eat, I stopped it at the thought, which told my brain this isn't how we're reacting anymore. And so I created new neural pathways, and the gaps got bigger. And the more I practiced it, the bigger the gaps were between self-judgment and binging and being calm and at peace. And because of that, it snowballed into eating fast food every day to starting to make healthy choices without willpower. My fear of the consequences started diminishing. And many of you have heard this story, and it is absolutely true. I listened to the recording that I'm giving out for free now called Weightloss, Overcoming Overeating. And I created that for me years ago when I started this journey, because not only did I go on the mental diet of saying no to those thoughts of judging and criticism or stories that I knew weren't true, I listened to this recording and fast food every single day, went into Wendy's, Junior Cheeseburger Deluxe, small fry Diet Coke. That's what I got because I cut my portions down. In the past, I would have got the single value meal, whatever that is now, probably a Frosty too. And I walked into the Wendy's intending to get the Junior Cheeseburger Small Fry Diet Coke. And when the cashier asked me what she could get for me, I said, I'll have the grilled chicken salad. And I literally looked behind me because I thought someone else just ordered. It's true. And it was so easy. It wasn't, like I said, I walked in with the intention of getting my cheeseburger. It wasn't even planned. In the past, being on a diet, I would have planned that and felt resentment because I couldn't have my cheeseburger. And instead, as she's ringing it up, I'm thinking, you know what, that's what I really want. So reframing all this, what's your fear of consequences? It might be worth writing it down. No more than 10 things, no more than 10 fears. Once we start getting into more than that, then it starts creating a whole snowball effect of story. There may be more, but let's start with those first 10. And you're not even going to start with 10, you're going to start with 1 or 2 or 3, preferably one at a time, and we can start snowballing back down. What's really fascinating is that once you start doing this work, you might not have to address all 10 because they start collapsing. And it makes it easier and easier to make the decisions without willpower. You're already making hundreds, if not thousands of decisions every day. Most of them are leading you towards staying fat. You're making these decisions out of fear of consequences. So what's your fear of consequences of being thin? And let's reframe that. So again, this is what's stopping you. This is what's stopping and starting all over again, the fear of consequences. And this is regardless of whatever you want in your life. You want happy relationships? This is stopping you from finding that person or having the relationship you want with the person that's in your life. You want more money? This is what the fear of consequences is what's stopping you. If you want to build a business and you're not where you're at, this is it. What does it mean to be successful in your business? What does it mean to add an extra $100,000 to your bottom line? What do you have to do? Are you afraid of that? And including weight. What does it mean to be thinner? What is your fear of that consequence? And I'm always offering 15-minute calls with me so we can explore it for you and then give you a plan to move forward. I have a whole bunch of resources, including working with me privately. So what's your fear of consequence? Write them down. And you can even send them to me if you'd like. I'd be glad to read them. to witness them, not to make them permanent, but to shed light on it that you can change it with much more ease than you ever expected. So until next time, sending you all love. I will be on this conference for the next 3 days where I'm speaking to over 900 people. How exciting is that? And also know that sometimes the decision to release weight, hey Jean, thank you for the heart, I appreciate it. The decision to lose weight will create a lot of anxiety. Oh, thank you for the light, Kathy, I appreciate that. Will create anxiety, it will create uncomfortableness. Doesn't mean that it's not right for you. It actually might mean you're on the right track. So until next time, sending love. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.